Okay. I honor those of you who are watching here on YouTube live at Blooming Light at Blooming Tribe. If you happen to be watching live, then you are watching on Sunday, November the 9th, 2025. It is approximately 7:28 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is in the U.S. Southeast Texas, Beaumont specifically, near the Parkdale Mall. Okay, so this is going to be a collective message regarding the plots on TIs. TIs standing for targeted individuals. Okay, so now I want to make some disclaimers about that whole statement because it doesn't mean all the things maybe in which people think it means. It can mean some of everything. A targeted individual simply means what it says, that an individual has been targeted for some reason or another, okay? Whether or not we can personally relate to the reason, whether or not we have any knowledge about these types of reasons, the bottom line is it's almost similar to pandering, why there's certain demographics that are, they're pandered to because of whatever, okay? So this is a collective message regarding targeted individuals similar to myself. So what you all are looking at on the screen, okay? Now, this is some of the investigative work that I am doing in the background because, again, once you start realizing the insidious nature of how people have gone really to far lengths to sabotage your life, when you start to realize that this is more than just a little slight hint of jealousy, this is more than just a little bit of irritation, or somebody got mad at you and they don't like you, and so they making funny faces. This is an assassination attempt. Okay, this is a covert style, a passive aggressive, albeit cowardly style, no doubt, because they're cowards, but cowardly style of trying to basically annihilate somebody from behind the scene. And as I've stated before, it's nothing like your family. The reason why that is used by distorted criminal enterprises or a distorted government, okay, leadership, is because of the fact they have the inside track. And if there's any semblance of appearance, there's so much you can do with this type of stuff. Okay, they have your personal data, they have your children's personal data, they have access to things. Okay, now by the time you're an adult, they should no longer have access. So chances are there's been a lot of illegal activity in play in terms of dealing with your medical records, because again, once you get of a certain age, that's not something, I don't care if it is your mammy, I don't care if it is, that's not something they supposed to be dabbling into, okay? So not only that, but if they worked in any medical facility, if they worked in a medical facility could be anything where there's medical. Okay, so that means, whoop, they can dabble if they fraud, if they fraudulent as fuck, like most of our people are, then they can play with that. They can, play with their crooked lawyers and their crooked notaries and their crooked bosses in the place. You know what I'm saying? Okay. What are you looking at? My name ain't no goddamn Brandy Kajava, whatever the fuck this is. Keshavana. Keshavan. Who the fuck this hoe? Who this hoe? Oddly enough, she's my age. Oddly enough, if you look into her relatives at the bottom, whose name is first listed, bottom left, Relatives include, and who this Mona bitch and Joe Brown? Who these niggas? Probably her code member friends, you know. What does this tell me when I looked at this report? Do y'all want to know what it revealed? Quiet, ain't it? The bumping. Alex stops for about 2 seconds. Alex has been good and plenty today. Be good and plenty busy, huh? Stop for 2 seconds. Alex is a name that I use as an inside joke. Alex from the 1980s movie Fatal Attraction, Glenn Close's character, her name was Alex. And she was a okay, she's flicking lights and shit, sitting in corners flicking shit and killing animals and doing crazy ass. Anywho, it's an inside joke, okay? It's an inside joke. But who this? Like, this is just one of many reports that I have. Look at the places old girl lived. North Las Vegas. Okay, I live there. Lilac Springs, Georgia. Not there. I wonder who that was. Toledo, Ohio. I kind of get who that is. San Bernardino, California. Yeah. Valley Stream, New York. No. I wonder who that is. Anaheim, California. No. Moss Beach. No. Oakland. No. Who this? Missouri City, Texas. Uh-oh. No. Elko, Nevada. Yeah. Silsbee, Texas. Yeah. Fontana. Yep. Victorville. Yeah. Everything else is some fraudulent hoes. And they code members. Plot. You guys have heard, if you've been following the content of other creators, they talk about how it's always a strategy to either incarcerate, incapacitate, and get these targeted individuals caught up. Okay? If the plan, okay, they have various strategies, okay? They employ all these various different strategies at one time. Okay? And they hope that because of all of this spell work and all of the actual assaults on their life, since they do pay for hitmen to kill them, we might as well accept this. Okay, this is the truth. Period, people. Period. Period. They hire hitmen, baby. Yes, you heard me correctly. Well, somebody can say, who got the money? This ain't TV. Well, unfortunately, what you all fail to realize is often there is large amounts of money that belongs to the collective some kind of way. Whether this was via an inheritance, a gift, there's usually something big time at play. Okay? First and foremost, that belong to them, and this is something that they have access to, and they don't want to take their hands off of it. And so this is how they then employ unofficially motherfuckers. Okay, this is truth is whether you want this to be the truth is or not. I'm sorry and I'm not sorry. Cancel, delete, destroy, and create. That you go to church with them. that you grew up with them, that they made your favorite gumbo and macaroni and cheese and German chocolate cake. It's the truth. In this case, in my case, they are part of a dark secret society and have been. And that is also simply the truth, whether people want that to be the truth or not. So sometimes these groups have money. You see what I'm saying? There's various reasons why they're able to do it. Sometimes it's the groups, these elite groups, these societies that they're a part of that has the money. Okay, so they can foot the money. If there's somebody in position of power, if they're famous, if they're these things, they obviously, they have the money and they have the connects to employ hitmen. I mean, hello. It ain't hard. And the hitmen are going to be different methods, okay? Yeah, sometimes it's something physical. They be trying to set up kidnapping and all sorts of things. Sometimes it's poison, okay? If you can infiltrate their space and poison them so that it can look like an accident, so that if something does finally occur as they hope and plan, that it just simply looks like an unfortunate event. Oh, they just got to hold on. Not this time. This time they're going to have to try a little bit harder because not this time. You got to try a little bit harder. I ain't making shit easy for these motherfuckers. I'm going to make their ass work for every little skanky, blood-drenched penny that they trashy asses got. I'm going to make them work for every time, every vehicle, every card, tree, refresher, hangy thingy. I'm going to make them motherfucker. I'm going to make them work. But this is how, okay, I'm being silly. This is how they're able to do it. It is financed, okay, one way or the other. And so let's say some of the stuff, they, like I said, they have multiple plans happening at once because it's like the just in case plans. Okay, so if the spell work doesn't seem to work fast and furious enough, well, okay, we'll go in with the poison. Okay, if that doesn't seem to work fast and furious enough, then, you know, we'll restrict all of their resources and maybe you'll push them to the brink of breaking the law themselves. Maybe it'll push them to the brink of you know, going to the store, you know, out of sheer desperation, you know, and then, you know, we'll just have, just so happen to just right folks, cops and shit, bitch. They ain't paying attention to nothing else. Niggas and bitches getting killed over there. They taking churn, all that, doing everything. They dumb ass and sitting over there with coffee and donuts. But waiting for the collective, almost like it was on cue, in sync, perfect timing. Let's see in their desperation to take care of their children, since we made sure to play with all of their resources. Let's see in desperation of that we can get them to prostitution so we can say we caught them prostituting in a state that it ain't legal. Out of desperation, and then maybe we'll get them caught up that way. Okay, so then if that don't work, we'll manufacture some shit. We'll dig and dig and dig, and we'll set it up. We'll have people using their information, creating criminal activities under the guise of them. And that's what's been happening to me and very many. That's what they do. And they, the thing about why it's effective, or at least it has been for a long time, is because, again, they're fully aware of the onslaught on the collective's life. They've been poisoned. Yes, they're under constant heavy-duty spell work, them and their children. Yes, they're being harassed in any environment in which they have to spend significant amount of time. Yes, there's constant, with an attempt to stop them from being able to think clearly. Which means it's going to cause, the hope is to cause the person to not be able to what? Be on their P's and Q's, because they may be extremely intelligent. So all of that is an attempt to stop them from being able to think clearly, to be able to look into these things, because they're juggling, they're doing all sorts of things. They're under spell work. Their kid is under spell work. Their dog is under spell work. They got weirdos being Alex and shit. Then they have, just crazy, weird motherfuckers, rando bitches and niggas and shit. Just stupid, okay? And on top of, whatever cycle of life. Because just think of it, it's all combined together. It's the regular standard things of life as everyone has it, on top of the shit ton load of spell work they've been living under, some of them since they were fucking born. That's what some of these people just ain't they don't understand, bitch. They think it's like, bitch, motherfuckers been dealing, we was living with the first bitches that was doing shit. What the fuck you think you doing? What you think you doing? Huh? What you think you doing? Been living with this, some sophisticated shit, motherfuckers. They ain't even knowing that. Talking about no TikTok damn spell. Like, for real? For real? Anyway. I'm going to do another video talking about vitamin D. It was a beautiful content creator. I think I reposted her shit, but maybe I didn't. Because sometimes I'll repost it, sometimes I won't, depending on if I feel like I should share it. Because I have a lot of karmics. But she made a point that I was like, I knew that. But I can also see why they try to, with what she said, I can see why a part of the strategy is this isolation, or to make the collectives feel like they can't come outside or some shit. Now, ain't nothing wrong with, I'm with it. Sometimes you don't want to deal with the bullshit, and everybody needs to kind of go in and be to themselves for some time. That's normal. But it's like, you're meant to get you some sunshine, some air, some outside, bitch, outside. If you gotta, you gotta stand on your balcony, your patio, some sun, some vitamin D, bitch. Okay, because that's a part of your defense. That's gonna be another video. That's gonna be a part of the whole. Because if you're sensitive, you can feel when everybody's doing this shit, and it's annoying. And it can cause you to feel some kind of way. And so the vitamin D, she was saying, this young lady, and I get it, because now I can see why I've always been inclined to it. Like, why do I like being in the sun? Why do I like being with trees? What is it? What is it? What is it? Okay? It's doing something for the biofield. So that even though you got people doing a shit ton of spells around the clock, you won't, it's like a bouncer or a buffer or something like that. It won't penetrate the same, especially if you give intention and command. Okay? But anywho, so, creating criminal activities in the targeted individual's name or their children's name. Now, I gotta say, just for the record, even from many, many years ago, where I come from, folks, did not have a problem. And I'm going to say this. They did not have a fucking problem, okay, utilizing my personal stuff without my permission. Okay? It's common. I got proof of this. I got proof. It's common, you know, within families, especially the African American family. You ask your auntie, your uncle, your cousin, you know, your credit is shot, or, you know what I'm saying, whatever the case may be, and you're trying to rebuild, and in the process you need to get, you know, certain services. It's common to go to a family member, go, hey, do you mind co-signing? Or, hey, do you mind, you know, that's standard. But that's not what happened in my case. Nobody ever came to me. This is how I know. They never had any respect for me whatsoever. Because you don't just use somebody's shit without their fucking permission. I don't give a fuck if it is your auntie, your sibling, your daughter, your you know what I'm saying? You don't just fucking just up and use it. You didn't disclose that to them. You didn't talk to them. And then when you run it up amok, it's on their fucking credit. It's something that is going against them. And they bank on these targets being so consumed and overwhelmed by the time you catch your breath, by the time you catch up, by the time you finish dealing with all of the constructed, manufactured fuckery that they're constantly concocting. That either it's too late, either you got into some kind of trouble, or at best, even if you didn't get in trouble, it has created some type of issue in terms of you being able to establish yourself the way you need to. Essentially, to make the target look like what is true of them. You see that? What's true about them? In other words, they crooks, nigga. They crooks. Just they crooks, nigga. They're crooks. We all have a story. But see, the fascinating thing is these people be having a rap sheet. And a rap sheet means you didn't just get in trouble back when you was 19 years old. It means you have a rap sheet. Your ass then got in trouble multiple times. As a way and standard of life. As a way and a standard of life. As a way and a standard of life. I understand circumstantial shit, but that's not what we're talking about. Not in this discussion. And not as it pertains to my folk. Guarantee that. I told you guys a story. Nobody ever really believes it because, see, this is the stuff that goes on behind the scene. I have an adopted brother, which is actual cousin. Okay, a second or a third. Okay, but was raised with us. There was a situation. And he talks freely about it, or at least he did back then. I can't speak for now. Okay? But he had to basically threaten. This is what it came down to. He had to essentially threaten to go to the cops and press charges on his own mother, or at least the one he called a mother. If she didn't clear up something that was discovered by him and his wife. Now, just let that marinate. In other words, she kept lying. In other words, he tried to have an adult conversation with her, an initial adult conversation, and then he was gaslit. And over again, she tried to put it on the wife. She tried to put it on to the mother-in-law. She tried to put it on to everybody but herself. Now, does that sound like a loving mother? That's just concerned about their children and just loves so much, so lovingly, unconditionally love their children so much. Toxic family structures feel entitled to you. They objectify you. They feel entitled to everything about you, your property. It doesn't matter what the law is. It doesn't matter what your age is as far as they're concerned. Okay. So that should give enough information to let the world know that they're not above it. Neither of them are. None of them are. Here recently, when I was setting up, when I had to deal with my son's EBT card situation, and I had to become like creative for him, because it's like, okay, what do you do when somebody still, whether it was stolen or lost, the process is always the same with these people. Okay, in Texas, they may not just, reissue a physical card in the office. It's something that may be just mailed out. And who has time for that? 7 to 10 business days. You see that? So I had to get very, very, very creative. Now, in the process of all this, though, I spoke with several folks, both at the offices itself, the county offices, as well as the Lone Star card people. I spoke with several folks in the process. This is when I discovered that a relative's information came up, and it shouldn't. Not in this state. But it did. Got the attention. It did. And so I was like, because it kept giving, the reason what made me dig so hard was because I kept calling and these representatives kept giving me different shit. And I was like, okay. I'm like, and I communicate excellent. So I know it ain't me. So I'm like, there's some bullshit. I was like, pertaining to who was listed on my son's account, which obviously I was, which was just ticking me off, because I'm like, ain't ever since never ever. Like, that's what was pissing me off about the whole everything. Because I'm like, ain't never since never ever. Okay, this is how it's always been. Okay, it was never any other way, and I was always given, he's always signed and or agreed that, because that's the nature of it, everything, his medical, His everything. I take him to the doctor and all that. I got jurisdiction. I'm on there. You'll see that there's a form where he is signed and I have signed and all of those things because, yeah, he's not going to be making any decisions, bitch. I was like, what are they, retarded, motherfucker? Anyways, what kind of shit is that? This is why they make themselves fucking obvious. I'm like, well, they make this shit easy. So I kept digging. I talked to like 6 people. It may even be more. I think I talked to like 6 folks. Because I was like, oh, we gonna deal with this. I was like, we're gonna get about it. We're gonna do it. And this is the time where I didn't have a phone. I had to go and like, this may have worked in my favor because I had to use other people's phones. And since that was the case, then it meant that it couldn't be tapped. So that might have worked in my favor. Okay. But so I talked to 6 different folks, and then I was like, okay, after that, because I was frustrated, I was like, oh, I see what they was. I was like, oh, them scallywags. I knew it wasn't lost. I knew that card wasn't lost because I knew exactly, albeit as crazy it may seem, I remembered because I had switched something. I did something with either switching purses or wallet, and I had set it. I remember setting it somewhere specifically. Okay, and because I wasn't utilizing it, and I set it somewhere, and I was in the process of changing it, the purses and stuff, and so I was like, okay, well, ain't nothing on there, blah 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 blah. It wasn't a big deal. And at that time, I was still maybe a little bit too gullible. Wasn't thinking that people, wasn't really believing they make you believe it. They make you believe it because of their incessant obsessions. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do for my son? What am I going to do? I already knew that they wanted me tortured, and they want me going around looking like I'm a prostitute. They want me going around looking like I'm not handling the affairs of my son. They want me to go around like, I already see them. They lack creativity. I'll say that. Same playbook. So I was okay. I went into meditation, and for me, meditation is not like this new agey. It's just I gave myself some space. I did a lot of clearing on my energy and gave myself just a little space to just silence, but not for escape, so that I can go in and tap into my heart and like see what creativeness comes up. Because sometimes you just do what you can do. Okay? When I say stuff like, keep on keeping on, the reason why that song hits is because that's the truth. It's my life. It's what I apply. Gotta make the best of all situations. Keep on keeping on. Okay? So I gave myself space, and that is where I was like, go online. I had to get all that resetted, and this is how I discovered the relative's name come up when I went online. Getting his account online and, utilizing all those things. That's when they pulled up when they was doing a security check. I'm like, her name should have came up because there's really no reason. I never had, unless her ass is in Texas. Unless her ass is in Texas. So I was like, Is that why I'm having, are they playing with some of that? Is that why there's been all this weirdy shit going on here? Because why this, as far as I know, they supposed to live in Nevada. Why is that information? Because they were never a part of our security process. So, uh-uh. Listen. So I I got that straightened out. I downloaded a couple of the apps, okay? And I said, okay, this is what I'm gonna have to do. I downloaded those apps, I set it up, and I changed all his information in terms of the codes and stuff, and then I froze the card. And much like you can do with your banking accounts and stuff like that, in the process of trying to, figure out shit, you feel like you've been hacked and people are using your shit. Some of the stuff you can do is block or freeze your card so that it makes it a challenge for if somebody know your passcode or blase, and they try to run it. If they do that, and you can test it yourself, because I think one time I forgot to unfreeze. And since I forgot to unfreeze and I tried to make an order, it would not process. It would not allow me to run it. Okay? And so I told myself, I said, you're going to have to do this for now. Okay? Until you can figure out everything. And then lo and behold, I recently find out that government is on some kind of shutdown anyway. I'm like, oh shit, well fuck, they ain't even having food stamps no more, bitch. It's like, that was the last of the food stamps, as far as I know. Okay? Now, why am I sharing all of this? Because it's all relevant to different ways they violate the privacy and infiltrate the targeted individual's life. Nobody has any business being in any folks' shit. Simple as that. Period. Point blank, the end. Okay, especially if you're an able-bodied adult. In other words, you ain't on disability. You don't have no disability check. You ain't on disability. You've been full capacities of yourself since ever, and ain't nobody got no business. Now, if they went around lying, this is some other shit. This is what I'm talking about. Lying, talking about somebody sick in the hospital, incapacitated, crazy, whatever you want to call it. And all of these various groups are going to be in trouble because if they didn't do their due diligence, then they are. As simple as that. They are. If it was just easy to do. And in some cases, if they didn't really like the collective anyway, so it was kind of like, ooh, Yeah, they are ridiculous. They are. These people. Okay, this sociopathic behavior. This obsession. Because that's what this is. Then they try to they'll corner the collective. Like I said, this puppeteering, manufacturing shit in the background. They make their lives virtually impossible to live and to have. And then they'll claim that they are incompetent of taking care of themselves. And then they'll try to set it. You see what I'm saying? Collective could very well be trying to establish, but again, just like what happened to me the one day when I had to go out there and try to make the best of a day, a situation when I needed to get something for my son, until I was able to figure out and navigate some other stuff. They're doing stuff constantly, so you can't think clearly, which means if you can't think clearly, what does that mean that you're subject to do at some point? No matter how intelligent you are, no matter how capable you are. So when I went out, to try to, help my son, blase, blase, to get something. These are the things they do. And they tell basically the whole town, the whole place, basically, that's why they be looking like the children of the corn and shit on their fucking faces. Got that look and shit. This is why. Because they be a part of that bullshit. And this is why you'll see that same narcissistic smirk come on some of their faces. Because they're on a unibrain. Knowing full well, what am I trying to say with this? This needs to be understood out there in the world. So to prove, like, it wouldn't matter. Because they're setting it up for failure. They're setting it up to make this person look like they just spazzed out, or they just don't have it together. They just are not structured. They're not focused. They don't have... No. They're basically telling everybody to not work with the collective. Whether it's professional, whether it is, having any kind of compassion to assist them in any way, shape, form, or fashion. It ain't a matter of them getting off their lazy duff. That's kind of the truth of some of these motherfuckers, which is why they look for shit like this to get a come up in the first goddamn place, because they don't want to get no legitimate ass goddamn correct. That's the truth of their ass. You want to sit up there and make money off of stalking people and shit and calling that a goddamn correct. Okay? Whoa. So, once again, this is all to get this profile formulated. Just like I told you all, I had the dream and the sibling with the whole, they were in the apartment in the like the doorway frame, and they looked weird and spooky like they really are and shit. Weird. Had this weird Glenn Close single white female fucking smile on their face. I'm framing you. I'm framing you. I'm setting you up to be framed with the people around you, and the people, them and the people around me, is, if they're part of it, is got a surprise coming. The attacks on the health and well-being and stability is so that the collective can't think clearly. Everyone is subject to miss it under those types of circumstances. You have people playing with your life like that. You got hundreds of people plus ganging up on one person and their child. From all over the globe. It shouldn't be that hard for people to figure. To me, this ain't rocket science. To me, basic 3rd grade, 4th grade level of education should be able to figure that part out. And how they do this is they recruit for all of the target's haters for the most part. They recruit for their haters, they recruit for people like their exes, and this is what they do, or people that are connected to their exes. Any energies that would be inclined and encouraged to want to do that, whether they're prejudiced, discriminatory, all those things. Those are the folks they recruit. People who may want their space. If the person is a social media content creator, then basically they're going to pander to folks who would like to have their place, but don't have this don't have the character. They want a copied and pasted life without, they yeah, 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 yeah. They'll pander to them and make them offers and say, hey, if you do this, we'll ensure you get a bomb diggity social media platform. We'll make your platform blow up if you do this for us. Stalk them, harass them, do rituals on them, do rituals on their platform, make nasty comments, throw trash on their homes and yards, and make noise. If you do all these things, we'll hook you up. Make them look like a bad mother, attack their kid, and nobody's gonna know it, and so this can make them like they're a bad mother. Go to the door, wait till you know that they're gone. Go to the door and give their kids something. Yeah, this is how low they go. When you have a bunch of people who want to be a star. And so if they're offered hey, well, do this humiliation ritual. Go in and exploit their personal space. Nobody is supposed to be doing that. In fact, you would cry like a little weak bitch if somebody did it to you. You cry like a bitch. You cry like a bitch. Cry like a bitch if it was you. But go on here and infiltrate their vulnerabilities to personal space and give us pictures and information. If you agree to do this humiliation ritual for us, we'll make you famous. We'll make you famous. You'll finally get the Escalade. You always want it. Hello. Yeah, it is a civil and it's actually criminal because if they're entering places without, yeah, but anyway. And that's what they do, okay? They do hack into the accounts. This is something else that they do, okay? And sometimes this is done through the honeypots. If they was able to get the collective in relationships and so forth, it's through the honeypots. Sometimes it's just done through hackers who know, or somebody, let's say somebody work at Spectrum. somebody work at Verizon, somebody work at T-Mobile, you know, like that kind of shit. You see that? And then, you know, paying people to do what they're not supposed to do. I remember when I used to work for Apple, um, this is some many years ago, but this was like, it was like one of the kind of positions that's, like it was from home, but it's like, it's for Apple, okay? It's for iPhone, Apple, and you troubleshoot, you do all this stuff, and you have access as an employee. You have the access to some of this customer stuff, okay? Now, if you crooked, if you're a crooked person and you have a friend that comes to you and presents to you an offer because they know that this person got this kind of blase. You see where I'm going with that? That's more, it's easier than you think. I was talking to the Geek Squad a few weeks ago, and you know, cute as it may be, I kind of laughed to myself. I'm like, okay. I was like, yeah, he's right, but he's missing the whole bigger picture here. You do have people that work for these various companies that could very well be crooked and very well be willing to give the information, which would allow somebody basically to infiltrate your system. You see that? Even though Apple is one of the most secure, in retrospect, it has a heightened sense of security, but it's not foul-proof. Guarantee it. From the shit I've experienced over the last few years, I guarantee it. And that's because they don't take into account when you're dealing with people who either knew the passcodes or they know somebody that works in the arena that can get it for them. So this is another way they plot, okay? This is how they do preemptive strikes. If they look into the things that the person is looking into based on their, you know, their search histories and communications. And so this is how they were able to then basically start doing spell work. And then in some cases, you know, suddenly inboxing all of these various peoples with so-called air quote concern or whatever. By attacking the collective's children, the plot is, again, this is always going to go back to make the collective look like they're not a capable parent, which is sickening because it basically should tell the world that they don't have a regard for these children. They don't care. All they know is that they want, hell, in some cases they want to sacrifice these children, like a video I reposted on my TikTok. They want to get to the essence of that kid. They want their money, they social security check, they want the voucher, bitch. They basically want to be the replacement parent, and it's over my goddamn dead body. And not even fucking then. That's how they look at these kids, meal tickets. Not even their own fucking kids. Ain't that some sick? Ain't that about a bitch, huh? Want them to basically sit there and vegetate while they benefit off their energy so they can just consume shit and fucking eat and shop and fuck and flex and shit. They lazy ass. Yeah. The plot. This is only one report of many, and I'll be doing a series of them for the rest of this month. And you all are only seeing a piece. This ain't all the information. You all are just seeing the screenshot of just the front page. You see, this is what it comes to for the targeted people. People who don't want to give them straight answers, they gonna get to the goddamn straight answers, one way or the other. Especially once folks like, folks like myself, when people start giving us anonymous tips and, everything starts to mount up, it's like, okay, I got to do what I got to do here. But listen, the frustration of the targeted population then becomes, you try to reach out to people and either they're a part of it, which is one of the saddest things that you discover over time. It's like, wow, even they were a part of it. Brother Two Saved was a part of it. Brother Praise the Lord, Sister Praise the Lord was a part of it. Even they were. Oh, that's some foul shit. They foul like a motherfucker. Cursed. Because who does that? Who has no fucking compassion and regard for some single woman and a offspring? What kind of sick old head operates like that? Looking at them like they're a meal ticket. That objectification. They're dollars and cents on a ledger. Same people that would be ready to kill and cry like bitches if they thought that somebody was trying to take advantage of their kid, their offspring, whatever. They would be ready to go to war and to go to bat and to do all kinds of matter of crazy foul shit if they even thought of it, and then got the audacity to call me crazy. Because I refuse. And I'm going to make sure they ask them to, yeah, that's where this is going. That's exactly where this is going. That's why I make jokes. I be like, give me your kid. I'll be serious than a heart attack with that too. I'm like, okay, very well. You talking mad shit. Give me your kid. Where's your child? Where's the information? Give me their hair. Give me their hair. And I'm finna send it around the world to these elites to get to go into town on them. And then come talk to me, bitch, afterwards, okay? Come talk to me afterwards, bitch. Go talk to me afterwards. Then you and I are on level playing ground. Then you're able to have a conversation with me. Anywho, let me get going. Because guess what? They're doing spell work in real time. I said it and I'm going to continue to say it. This is all day, every day. This is daily. They're doing ceremonial ritual abuse on my son and me on this property. And when I say they, I mean residents on this property, as well as whoever their associates are, including but not limited to my relatives and folks connected to my ex. Sis. But they are not limiting it to that. Okay, they're making sure just to continue on the regularly scheduled program with the disruptiveness, with the garbage that is still on schedule as it has always been, and it has not ceased or desist. For those of you who are wondering, no, it hasn't. They starve for attention, really bad, parasitic in nature, and it hasn't ceased. And sometimes it's even more because they be so annoyed because I won't react. Like, fight with me, be upset, be angry, I'm bored. Bored. Lacks originality. At some point, it's this humdrum. The same shit. Chaos and conflict, confusion. Chaos, 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 conflict, confusion. And on top of sickness, you know, all this other shit that they've been doing. Be sleepy. Sleep. Go to sleep. Say goodnight. You're tired. Shika shika baby. Naji Ramba. Naji Ramba. Some of y'all don't know where that come from, and I'm just being silly, okay? It ain't like I actually got respect for the craft, but I'm also somebody of integrity in a sense of I have my heart chakra is fully intact, so there's some things that's just, yeah. Okay. I'm not one of us be going to town on disabled people because I'm a weak hoe, okay? I'm just not one of them that's into pandering the weak and vulnerable because I'm a weak bitch, okay? I'm not one of those. Naji Ramba, Naji Ramba, Naji Sunflower, brother Sunflower from Martin. Y'all don't. Naji Ramba, nah. It's like, okay, you doing that on disabled people? Oh, they should have gave them medicine. These people should have medicine. Starting with his relatives, shit, nigga. Hey, the first one should have been lined up. Anywho, that's that. I'm gonna end this, and I had fun with this one. I just wanted to share, give pieces of information to let the world know. No, it's a thing. The targeted individuals, they're not nutty. They may have niggles to manifest, but it's time for the world to reevaluate what we're calling crazy. Which one came first, the chicken or the egg? It is time for the world to reevaluate that. Is it the abuser or the abused or the abused? Because it's like, if you want to equate it to the natural physical world, which a lot of humans seem to be able to better connect and relate to, it's like jumping on somebody, beating them like in the physical, bloody, and jumping on a person that's 110 pounds, soaking wet, and then a bunch of 200-pound motherfuckers deciding to go gang jump on that person, and then when they don't pop up and operate like they have their full health and capacity, it's like turning around and looking at that person like it's something wrong with them, versus looking at these 210-pound cowardly bullies. That decided to jump on that 110-pound person soaking wet, but then the world want to look at that 110-pound person like it's something wrong with them. It's time for the world to accept that there is a thing called covert abuse. There is a thing that's called abuse that's not something that you can see as a black eye physically on someone's eye, and is just as impacting, if not more so. There's a thing called financial abuse. There's a thing called energetic, spiritual abuse. All these things are impacting of a person's capability to have a healthy, sustainable life. And until we get our head out of our asses and out of the clouds and start to accept that that is truth, and people abusing their positions of power and authority in order to play God in someone else's life, that's still abuse. And it creates niggles for the person, but that person is not the problem. If somebody is gaslighting you and stalking you and playing psychological warfare tactics and violating your personal space, telling basically the world at hand to not connect with you, then what the fuck, bitch, nigga, do you think? Stop playing. The only reason why some of these motherfuckers out there right now got anything, I'm going to tell you right now, because they're a bunch of ass kissers. They're a bunch of fucking cowardly brown nosers. Straight up, bitch.